Let's take a shot with this. This is just one of my fouling shots. Whew. I forgot about that brass butt plate. Kicks hard, but it's nice and familiar. This is actually the first rifle I ever bought. Welcome back, gents. We plan on continuing in our quest that we started a long time ago. Let's take a look at our load development here. So this is my Yugoslavian M2447. So this is a large ring carbine Mauser that was originally developed in 1924, but then post-World War II, they refurbished the whole line in 1947, and then shortly thereafter they came out with the model 1948, where that was updated further. Everything's original with the exception of the extractor and that front sight hood that I put on there to help me in differing weather conditions. Anyway, our load development. We are going for 1 inch at 100 yards, but we're starting at 50. Because first we're doing a primer test. We're using XMR powder, so that's from Accurate. We have Lapua brass, and then we have our two different types of primers, Remington and then Federal Match. Our overall length is 3.020, and we are using Nosler Custom Competition bullets. And here we go. Shiny. For powder charges, you can see we're going in pretty gross measurements here. 1 full grain of powder, but we're just kind of ballparking where we know things will work best, and then we'll narrow it down from there. After we narrow down where we need to be in terms of powder, I'm probably going to do some more overall length testing, and then finally we'll take things out to 100 yards. So this is part 1. Let's get to shooting. Also, don't crucify me, but these are neck sized. Let's try to make this short and sweet. We'll be looking at the Remington primer shot strings first. In the upper left, we have our lowest charge of 40 grains. Then in the upper right, we have 41 grains, with 42 in the middle. There's nothing really noteworthy here, with the exception that the charges of 41 and 42 have the most similar point of impact, and the general trend is that the higher charges cause the point of impact to shift upwards on the paper. Also, the highest two charges are the least precise. For the Federal Match primers, the lowest charge have a notably lower point of impact, but it quickly rises to be similar to that of the Remington primers. The groups look to be, overall, just slightly more precise, and it should be noted that I fired these strings after all the Remington shots, so any effect that fouling or residual heat would have would be in full force here. However, this load workup has the honor and privilege of having both the most accurate and precise group as well as the least precise group. That would be the maximum charge. The highest two charges also displayed some horizontal stringing. There are not two groups that have a notably similar point of impact, unlike the Remington primers, where we had two groups that were kind of similar. If I remember correctly, Remington primers are known for being quote-unquote a hotter primer. So I suppose I shouldn't be surprised that there was less vertical shifting. I bet that if we were to get a chronograph, and if we would have chronographed all of our shots, we would have seen that the Remington primers started with a higher velocity. Then they both would have evened out as we approached our highest charge. At this point, that's speculation, but my range doesn't lend itself to having a shot marker or any sort of lab radar chronograph. The magnetospeed doesn't attach well to this old rifle either. So what path do we follow from here? Well, since we're doing huge leaps in powder charge, I'm going to do more testing around 42 grains of XMR 4064 with the Federal Match primers and do a finer graduation test. From there, it's playing with our seating depth, but one step at a time. Also, I'll make sure I get some chronograph readings next time.